Hey, what's going on, everyone? I wanted to give you guys a quick update as things in Texas have not gotten better. So right now we're averaging around 10,000 cases a day over the last 3 days. The positivity rate of these tests are up to 15%. So a lot of folks are saying we're getting more positive cases because we're testing more, which we're definitely testing a lot more than we were before. I think we are doing around 50,000 tests a day or 60,000 tests a day. But the big problem is the positivity rate of those tests has gone way up. We used to get around 4% positive, and now we're up to 15% positive. So it shows the virus is definitely spreading within Texas. In Austin, around 78% of our hospital beds are full, and there's only 59 ICU beds for the entire city. In Dallas, they're about 82% full, with only 296 ICU beds. And in Houston, the hardest hit part of the state, they're about 85% full with only 128 ICU beds available, again, for a population of 6.6 million people. But the big number that I want to talk about doesn't have anything to do with new infections or positivity rate. It's a number that's more important to determining how we're going to do with the coronavirus here in Texas and whether or not we're going to shut down again. And that's the amount of people who are actually worried about the coronavirus. So this might be kind of surprising, but people are actually less worried about the virus now than they were when the crisis first started. So there was a recent poll asking, how concerned are you with actually getting the coronavirus? Back in April, they asked people, how concerned are you with getting the coronavirus? And 54% of people said they are extremely or very concerned about it. Now that number's dropped down to 47%. They also asked people about leaving their home. And back in April, 63% of people said they're not leaving their home unless they absolutely have to. Now that number's down to 37%. The poll also asked, are you living normally, as if none of this was going on? And back in April, that number was 9%. 9% of people said, hey, I'm not worried about the virus, I'm just doing whatever. And that number is up to 20% now in July. So what these polls really show us is that people are tired of fighting the coronavirus. Just don't want to do it anymore. Almost like Vietnam. We just got tired of fighting that too and just said, hey, we're done. And so the idea that we're going to shut down again statewide is probably pretty remote. But in the cities where the virus is hitting the population the hardest, it's probably going to happen at some point. Here in Austin, the mayor wants to do a 35-day shutdown so we can hopefully get the virus under control by mid-August and maybe, just maybe, get kids back in school. But he has to get the governor's permission to do so, and that kind of seems likely that it will happen, but we'll see. Originally, when all this was going down, Abbott put the role of the cities in charge to say, hey, he basically said, cities, you guys have to enforce all these bans, because he didn't want to take the political heat of shutting down the state. As things got worse and worse, he eventually shut the state down. Now he's kind of reversed course a bit, saying it's a statewide, that the state has control and isn't letting cities take control. But as things have gotten worse and worse, he's kind of gone back on that a little bit and has basically told Austin they could, do their own fines and telling cities that they need to enforce the stuff that's already on the books. And so Austin just, today, they instituted a $2,000 fine for not wearing a mask in public. And the thing we also have to consider is, what is a shutdown? What's a shelter-in-place order, and how much power does the government actually have? If 50% of people aren't that worried about the coronavirus, and even if we do a shutdown, Austin has a population of 2.3 million people. The city can't enforce a shutdown of 2.3 million people. So if people aren't behind the idea of a shutdown, it's not going to work, and it's not going to happen. And we're gonna have to deal with the health consequences because of that. Right now, our hospitals are filling up at an alarming rate. And I think the thing that's really gonna change all this is when it's not just the coronavirus stuff you have to worry about, but it's everything else. I mean, imagine, if you will, that hospitals are completely full and anything that happens is a life or death scenario. It's not like people are gonna stop having heart attacks or having accidents, during this pandemic. So the thing that we're really, you gotta be really worried about is that, if you hurt yourself or a loved one, suffers any kind of medical issue, that they can't get that treated and get that taken care of because hospitals are full. And it seems like if that happens, then, you know, it won't just be coronavirus deaths we're worried about, it's deaths from other things. But if things get that bad, Abbott really won't have a choice on whether or not to shut down. So if you want to avoid that happening, just make sure you wear a mask. If you're in Austin, it can save you $2,000. Thank you so much for watching Citizen Pete and listening to my news and politics rant. It's nice to be able to share my opinion with you. If you haven't already, check out some more videos floating around here. Subscribe to my channel, shoot me a like, and leave a comment. I want to know, what do you think?